The message arrived on a Tuesday. Admiral James Parker stood rigid before the holographic projection, his weathered face illuminated by the alien script that floated in the air. Around him, the Joint Chiefs and world leaders watched in stunned silence as the translation software deciphered the transmission. "People of Terra," the message began, the alien voice rendered in flat, emotionless English. "The Dominion claims your system as part of its territory. You will submit annual tribute of 20% of all planetary resources and 500,000 human specimens for labor integration. Compliance is mandatory. You have 30 standard rotations to prepare your first tribute. Resistance will result in disciplinary action." The transmission ended, leaving the room in silence. Director Lisa Wilson of Global Intelligence was the first to speak. "They've been watching us for decades. Our long-range telescopes detected their fleet entering the outer system 3 days ago." "Options?" President Martinez asked, his voice steady despite the weight of 6 billion lives now resting on his shoulders. "General," Thomas leaned forward, "we have exactly one advantage. They don't know humanity very well." In the vastness of space, Commander Rax of the Dominion Acquisition Fleet observed the blue-green world through the ship's viewing portal. Primitive, like most new additions to the Empire. The inhabitants would resist initially, as they all did, but ultimately they would join the 10,000 other species that served the Dominion. "Commander," his subordinate Kell reported, "we're detecting increased communications activity on the planet." Rax dismissed the concern with a gesture. "Expected behavior. They're organizing their tribute collection." "There's something else. They've activated dormant orbital platforms." "Weapon systems?" Rax asked, mildly curious. "No, Commander. Communication arrays. They appear to be broadcasting in all directions." Rax turned back to the viewing portal. "Irrelevant. Prepare the collection vessels." 2 weeks after the ultimatum, Admiral Parker stood before the United Nations Assembly. The emergency global government had been formed in days, not the decades such cooperation would normally require. "Project Thunderbolt is ready," he announced. "Every nation has contributed. Every industrial facility has been converted. We've done in 14 days what should have taken years." On screens worldwide, humanity watched as Parker outlined humanity's response to the Dominion's demand. Not surrender, not negotiation. War, absolute and total. Rax frowned at the report. "They've gone silent?" "Yes, Commander," Kell confirmed. "Global communications dropped by 90% 3 days ago. We're detecting massive energy signatures beneath the planetary surface, but no tributes are being prepared. Send a warning shot. Target their largest uninhabited landmass." The order was executed. A single energy pulse lanced down from the fleet, scorching a crater into the Australian outback. The response came minutes later. Not surrender, but a simple text transmission. "The people of Earth reject your terms. Prepare to receive our counteroffer." Rax laughed. "How quaint, they think they can negotiate." What the Dominion failed to understand was that humanity had spent its entire history preparing for this moment, though they never knew it. Thousands of years of warfare had honed strategies. Centuries of science fiction had imagined this exact scenario. Decades of space exploration had provided the foundations. When the first Dominion collection ships entered Earth's atmosphere, they met not tribute collectors but the combined arsenals of a species that had converted its entire industrial capacity to war production in 2 weeks. The ships that followed discovered that humans had extracted and weaponized every ounce of fissionable material on the planet. The Dominion fleet commanders learned too late that humans, when threatened, did not behave like any other species they had encountered. Rax stared in disbelief as the tactical display showed 3 collection ships vaporized in atmosphere. "Impossible," he muttered. "Their technology is centuries behind ours." "Commander," Kell's voice had lost its usual calm. "They're launching from the surface, thousands of primitive missiles, nuclear warheads. Our shields can—" "There are 2. Many," Kell interrupted. "And they're not just targeting our ships." That's when Rax understood. The humans were firing at everything. The ships, empty space, even their own orbit. "They're creating a radiation barrier," he realized aloud. "They're poisoning their own orbital space to prevent us from approaching." A nearby officer spoke up. We've intercepted their broadcasts to the stars. They've been transmitting the location of the Dominion homeworld and our fleet movements to every system within range. Rax felt cold dread settle in his stomach. No species had ever done this before. No species had ever been willing to potentially destroy their own world to resist integration. 6 months later, Admiral Parker stood in the ruins of what had once been Rio de Janeiro. The sky above was still tinted the unnatural red that came from the orbital defense grid, the miles-thick layer of irradiated particles that made Earth approach impossible. Was it worth it? Asked President Martinez, surveying the destruction. Parker watched as construction crews began rebuilding. We lost cities. They lost their empire. The truth had spread quickly through the Dominion's territories. If one small planet was willing to go to such extremes, what might others do? The rebellions had started within weeks. The Andromeda transmissions confirm it, Martinez said. The Dominion fleet is in full retreat across 3 sectors. Their tributaries are declaring independence. Parker nodded. They never understood. They thought we would calculate odds of success and choose submission. They didn't realize that humans don't make war based on mathematics. What happens when the radiation shield dissipates? Then, Parker said, watching as children played in the distance, somehow finding joy even among ruins, we'll be ready for them. And they'll remember Earth as the world that didn't just fight back. It showed the galaxy how to be free. In the observation post at the edge of the solar system, Lieutenant Davis recorded the final Dominion ships jumping to faster-than-light travel, fleeing the system they had so confidently entered months before. His message back to Earth was simple. They're running. Humanity had declared absolute war and won.